Got Warren Haynes for today's video, and this, like my Kirk Fletcher video I did a few days ago, this is a 12-bar blues solo jam where Warren's playing chords and licks in between. It's not too demanding, it's quite slow, but let's watch it all the way through and then I'll break it down lick by lick. So we're in the key of C. So our three chords, so to begin with, the three chords we're using, we've got C7, that's our one chord, and the four chord, we're going to go to an F, F9, and the five chord is a G9. And you can always replace these 9 chords for 7th chords if you wanted. And the two scales we're using, so it's in C minor pentatonic, and we're utilising box 1 and also box 3. Or the BB box, and you can locate the BB box. Your first finger needs to find the root of the tonic you're on the B string, and then that's the box we're using around that position. So, like I said, this is rhythm, he's playing chords and licks at the same time. And he also, at some point, does this cool move where you go like that. I talk about that more in my Kirk Fletcher jam. It's a similar video to that, same kind of vibe. So let's kick off with lick 1 and then we'll break it down. So he starts off and it goes to the 5 chord. So he first establishes the key by playing the 8th fret on the low E, and then he walks down from the 8th fret to the 10th on the A string, and then plays this G7 chord. It walks into the root of the 5 chord. Then he plays his first lick, which takes him into the 1. That's how Warren plays that first chord. So the lick is 8 to 10 on the B string. So we're now thinking, you're still in box 1 minor pentatonic, but we're thinking major pentatonic. There's a bit of mixing of the major and the minor here. So we've got 8 to 10 on the B, then 8th fret on the high E, and then we push up the 10th fret a whole step. So that 10th fret is going up to that E note, which takes us to the major third of the 1 chord. So that's perfectly leading into the 1. And then we do a lick which takes us into the 4 chord. So same position, it's starting 8 to 10, but it's a hammer on this time. And then it's 8th fret on the high E. And then we grab the 10th fret again and we push up a half step and then release and pull off to the 8th fret. And then plays this F9. So that little half step bend, that's taking you into the flat 7 of this F9. So that lick slowly. So again, that lick with the 10th fret, it's up a half step, so you're going up to the 11th. Release, all one pick, and then pull off to the 8th, still it's all one pick, into that 4 chord. Next lick. So the next lick takes us into back into the C7, into the 1 chord. So again, we're starting on the 8th fret of the B, over to the 10th again, but then we rock back to the 8th fret with our first finger. And then we push up, we come up into box 3, and we push up the 15th fret, a whole step, and that takes us back into the 1 chord. So after that 1, does a whole step bend, so you can think minor pentatonic box 1 now. Whole step bend from the 11th fret, and then straight away we do a half step bend or a quarter step bend. I think it's a quarter step bend. Back to the 8th fret, high E. Then up the pentatonic, we're going to go 11 to 8, 10th fret of the G, and then 8th fret of the G, which is our minor third, give that a little tweak, and then twice on the root, which is a D string 10th fret, and then back to that minor third, 8th fret on the G, and give it a little bit of a tweak. That lick slowly. And then he goes into the 4 chord, but he plays the 4 chord, he comes from half a step behind, so he goes E9 into the F9, and then plays another lick because we're still on the 4 chord. Cool, so we've got that E9 into the F9, then we're going to slide into the BB box, so it's middle finger, G string 14th fret, and then we're going to play the root twice, which is the 13th fret of the B, and then back to the 14th fret on the G. So, and then we're still on the 4 chord, but he goes back to this 4 chord, but he just plays the top 3 strings. I'm going to do it with my first finger because it's easier. And we grab the 8th fret on the G, B and high E, slide up to the 10th and back to the 8th, all with one pick. So that's a good little move to put in for the 4 chord. So from the E9 to the F9, nice lick then. So back into the BB box after this slide. We're going to slide back into that 14th fret on the G. Back to the root, so that's our tonic note, that's our C. 13th fret of the B string. Then he bends up the 16th fret, so this is minor pentatonic. He bends that up a half step. Then 13, 15 on the high E. And then straight after that 15th fret, we're going to come to the 15th fret of the B, so we're just going to rock your third finger over and it puts you up onto that B string. Give that a bit of a tweak, like a quarter step bend, the 15th fret. Then back to the 13th fret of the B. Back to the 15th fret of the B. 14th fret of the G, and then you finish it on the root. So that lick slowly. then into our 1 chord. Okay, so nice lick there. So we've done the to the 1. So we've got 11th fret, and then quickly, so it's the 11th fret of the B, so we're back in box 1 minor pentatonic. He does a bit of a rake into this 11th fret, but you don't have to. We're going to go 11th, then quickly bends the 10th fret of the G up a quarter tone, back to the 10th, then to the 8th fret of the G, which is our minor 3rd. Then we come over to the D string, and again 10, 8, 10, and then finish the lick with a little quarter tone bend on the minor 3rd, 8th fret G string. So from that BB King, the BB box lick. Do that slowly. You could do with the 10th fret bend. You could do a bend up, release, pull off if you wanted, or with 1 pick. You know, you can vary these licks. So now we go into the 5 chord. And he walks up from the 7th fret of the A, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the 10, remember, that is the root of our 5 chord. Then we can play that G7. So we go 7, 8, 9, 10 into our 5. And then it's nice lick. So again, it's like the previous lick. We're going to go to that 11th fret and do that same move. 10th fret, G string, up a quarter tone, back to the 10, then 8, 10, and this is where it changes a bit. We go to the 8th fret of the B, which is our root of the 5 again. Then a little tweak on the G. We're going to do a stack. We're going to roll our finger over, give the 8th fret of the G a little quarter tone bend, and then we're going to do a stack on the 10th fret, D string and A string, and that finishes the lick on that root of the 5 chord. Goes back to the 4 chord, but from a half step behind. So it's F sharp 9 to F9. I'll do that 5 chord lick again really slow. So the last lick, we've gone to the 4 chord, back into box 1, hammer on 8 to 10, and then 8th fret high E, big bend on the 11th fret of the high E, whole step, then back down, and we're going to pick the 11th again, back to the 8th, then over to the B, 11, 8, and then stack, roll our first finger over to the 8th fret of the G, quarter tone bend, that's our minor 3rd, and then hit the root twice. every time you get this minor third, we're always giving it a tweak, and it's pushing it towards the major third. So you get that nice bluesy sound. So from the 5 chord, and then we're going to a classic turnaround. So the turnaround, we're gonna, it's exactly the same as the turnaround I did in the Kirk Fletcher video. So our pinky is going to be on this high E, 8th fret for the whole turnaround move, and then we have our ring finger on the D string, 8th fret. So this whole turnaround is going to be played on the D and the high E, and we go, this high E, 8th fret stays there for the whole time. We're just going to walk down chromatically this D string. Or you can alternate with pick and fingers. You can mix it up a bit, and then the final lick he does, he slides into the major third of the 1 chord, so that's the 9th fret G. Then first finger, B string, 8th fret. Back into that major third, middle finger. And then grabs the 5, which is the 10th fret of the A string with his ring finger. And then builds that G7. Finishes it with a hit on the 1. That turnaround really slow. That's it. So work on these things slowly. You need to get a handle on the structure to begin with, which is your 3 chords of the blues. And your scales. There's 2 positions this is utilising. Box 1. And box 2, which is your BB box. Any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I've got the tabs. I'm going to put the, I'll put a link to the tabs, so you can just give me a shout and I'll make sure you get all the tabs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.